Life and Teaching of the Masters of the Far East. Volume 1, Chapter 15. We had been seated but a few moments when a man whom we judged to be about 35 appeared suddenly in the room. He was introduced to us and all shook hands with him. We were all spellbound at his appearance, for we had imagined that he would be very old. He was above the medium height, with rugged features, but the kindliest face I had ever looked upon. There was strength of character back of every move. His whole being emanated a light that was beyond our power of comprehension. Before we were seated, Emil, Jast, and the two strangers clasped hands in the center of the room and stood in perfect silence for a few moments. Then all were seated, and the one who had appeared in the room so suddenly began by saying, "You have asked for this interview in order to get a better understanding of the documents that have been read and interpreted for you. I will say that these records were made and kept by me, and those referring to that great soul, John the Baptist, which seemed to surprise you so greatly, are actual occurrences of the time he was with us here. These records show that he was a man of wide knowledge and wonderful intellect. He perceived that our teaching was true, but he apparently never came to the actual realization, for, had he done so, he would never have seen death. I have sat in this room and heard John and my father converse, and it was here that he received much of his teaching. It was here that Father passed on and took his body with him, and John beheld his passing. There are none of my family on father's or mother's side that have not taken their bodies with them in passing. This passing means the perfecting of the body spiritually, until one becomes so conscious of the deep spiritual meaning of life or God, that one sees life as God sees it. Then one is privileged to receive the highest teaching, and from this realm, one is able to help all. We never descend from this realm, for those who have reached this place never wish to descend. They know that life is all progress, a going forward. There is no turning back, and none wish to do so. All are reaching out to help those that are striving for more light, and the messages that we are continually sending out into the universal are being interpreted by God's children, who are receptive, in every part of the earth today. This is the prime object of reaching this realm or state of consciousness, for we are able to help all in some way. We can and do talk with and instruct those who are receptive and who raise their consciousness, either through their own efforts or the assistance of another. Another cannot do the work for you, nor can another carry you along indefinitely. You must decide to do the work for yourself, then do it. Then you are free and self-reliant. When all come into the consciousness, as Jesus did, that the body is a spiritual body and indestructible, and hold themselves in this consciousness, then we shall be able to communicate with all and give out the teaching we have received to a greater number. We are privileged to know that all can accomplish all that we have accomplished, and thereby solve every problem of life. And that which has been looked upon as difficult and mysterious will be found simple. I do not seem any different to you from any other man that you meet every day. Neither do I see any difference in you. We said we thought we could see something far finer in him. He answered, that is only the mortal as compared with the immortal of man. If you would only look for the God quality and not make any comparison, you would see every human being as you see me. Or by looking for the Christ in every face, you would bring forth that Christ, or God quality, in all. We make no comparisons. We see only the Christ or God quality in all at all times, and in that way we are out of your vision. We see perfection or have perfect vision, while you see imperfection or have imperfect vision. Until you are in contact with someone who is able to instruct you, until you can raise your consciousness where you can see and converse with us as you are now doing, our teaching seems only inspirational in nature. It is not inspiration when we are conversing or attempting to converse with one. This is only in the nature of instruction, leading to the point where the true inspiration can be received. It is inspiration only when it comes direct from God, and you let God express through you. Then you are with us. The ideal image of the flower in minutest detail is within the seed, and must expand, multiply, unfold, and be wrought into the perfect flower by hourly preparation. When this inner image is complete in minutest detail, the flower comes forth beautiful. Just so God holds the ideal image of every child in mind, the perfect image through which he wishes to express. We can get more out of this ideal way of expression than the flower does if we will, but let God express through us in the ideal way he has conceived for us. It is only when we take things into our own hands that the problems and difficulties begin. This is not for one or a few, this is for all. It has been shown us that we are not different from you. It is a difference in understanding, that is all. All the different isms, cults, and creeds, all the different angles of all beliefs, are all good, for they will eventually lead their followers to the realization that underneath all, there is a deep factor of actuality that has been missed. A deep something that has not been contacted, or they have failed to contact that which rightly belongs to them, which they can and should rightfully possess. We see it as this very thing that will eventually drive man to possess all. The very fact that man knows there is something to possess which can be possessed and which he has not, will goad him on until he has it. It is in this way every step in advance is made in all things. The idea is first pressed out from God's into man's consciousness, and he sees there is something ahead if he will but go on. Here man usually blunders and fails to recognize the source from which the idea came, but thinks that it came wholly from within himself. He gets away from God, and instead of letting God express through him the perfection God sees for him, he goes on and expresses in his own way and brings forth imperfectly the thing which should be perfectly wrought or manifest. If he should but realize that every idea is a direct, perfect expression from God, and as soon as this idea comes to him, he would immediately make it his ideal to be expressed from God, then take his mortal hands off and let God express through him the perfect way. This ideal would come forth perfect. Here we must realize that God is above the mortal, and the mortal cannot help in any way. In this way, man would learn in a short time to express perfection. The one great thing man must learn is to get forever through and out of the psychic or mind forces and express directly from God, for all psychic forces are created wholly by man, and they are likely to mislead.